So Jay, you've just struggled for your life in a cell with your brother at the moment. He gets orders from the big homies to take you out. He okey dokes you, disarms you very, very intelligently. And the CO pulls up on you guys and he goes, bro, I could read between the lines. Usually, if it was just a heart check, it would have not involved steel, right? But this was a message. Hey, Jay, it's time to go, bro. It's time to roll it up. Did they try to debrief you, the COs?
Bro, they tried that. As soon as I got pulled out in handcuffs and I was bleeding, they stopped me right in front of the building. And they were like, what happened? I was like, and the tower cop starts laughing at me and he's like, hey, so real quick, hey, who got you for the yard? And I just smiled and I was like, shut the hell up, bro. Because everybody knew. There was only 20 Northerners there and only 3 were leadership. Me, myself, and another homie from, I think it was from Antigua. They already knew. IGI and the prison administration knows anything before most of the time inmates do. So they already knew who was running the cell. So I looked at them and was like, man, whatever. So they take me, go to medical. Oh man, that was horrible. My head was probably the nastiest because they had to stick a needle like in different angles. So they had to put it this way to numb it and then this way to numb it. And they did what they did. And I could feel that needle going deep. I was like, oh, so they numbed it, stitched me up. They gave me 3 stitches right here. My fingers weren't cut that bad. This one right here wasn't that bad. It healed up on its own. But so they put me in the hole and they're like, hey bro, we're gonna have you debrief. But see, as Northern structure, we're taught to learn our MA rights. And the Title 15 says I don't have to debrief because the debriefing process is the THU. What it is IGI takes advantage to gain all the information that they want from inmates because they scare them. Hey bro, if you don't tell us nothing, we're gonna put you back on the yard. There's a law that passed because they did that to an individual and he sued because he got put back on the yard after saying he wanted to disassociate himself and he didn't give up no information. He got hit, so his family sued. So all you gotta do is, like I've been trying to tell everybody on the internet, you just gotta say, man, I disassociate myself as a gang, I wanna go SNY. You have that right. Now, if you choose to talk to IGI and do their little scandalous tactics, then they're gonna extract information out of you. But the debriefing process is specifically for dropouts, which is NF, Mexican Mafia, ABs, and BGs. So they throw me in the cell. They put me through hell. They didn't let me get my property. They didn't let me get my TV. The first week I go to committee and I'm complaining. I have no choice but to complain like, hey bro, like you guys keep sending IGI to talk to me. I got shit to say. It was an accident. I go back, but you guys are depriving me of my property. You know, you guys want to keep me back here when I'm willing to sign a chrono? And they just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. They would pull me out. There's like a little phone booth and they'd put me in there and make me stand there all day. All day, no food, I can't pee, I can't do nothing. Every time I'd ask for to go to the bathroom, they just left me in that cage. Oh, you do want to talk to IGI? And I'm like, man, I got shit to say. Or they'll come by with those little yellow stickers and they'll write little notes and they'll leave them on my door and be like, answer us this question, that's it. And then they'll come back before shift and be like, and I'll be like, man, fuck you, man, get the fuck out my door. And they'll take it off. I had a cell extract just to get my property. And they sprayed me bad because I boarded up with toilet paper. Like, bro, you guys are not giving me my property. You guys got me housed back here for a while with no property. That's against the rules. I have no disciplinary actions, no loss of privileges. You guys are not giving me shit because I don't want to talk to you guys. I ain't got shit to say.
What prison was this at?
SAD FC yard.
SAD FC. So you're still trying to hold your mud, but in your head, are you like, you know what? Fuck it. Did you have a moment in time where you're like, fuck this, man, I'm just gonna play ball?
Nah, they actually brought me back. They sent me back to the yard.
So you go back to the
I
yard.
go back to the yard.
Now, before that attempt on your life happened, out of the 20 norteños, do you think all of them knew that was coming down the pipe?
Dog, it was just between me and my celly. We were on lockdown, so remember, anything that comes to me and my celly first. We write it and we circulate it to the people. So everybody was oblivious.
So how did he get that kite without you reading it?
Because he three-wayed it through a mail, through letters.
Okay.
Remember my cousin, I hooked him up with, did the three-way.
Oh, shit.
So I wound up going back finally, bro, and I'll never forget this day. I walked in and I knew I was nervous because I'm like, my celly's in the hole too, pending investigation, no charges on him. Because like I said, no banger, I was bloody, I didn't say nothing, but they still snatched him up anyways. So they're while he's in the hole, I knew he shot a kite back out there because we're on the same tier together. So somebody's getting kicked out, he's shooting kites back out there, but I'm over here going through hell trying to get my property.
How come the COs didn't find the bangers?
Because we flush them.
Okay.
They're easy to flush.
No shit. They
Oh,
go
they're
down
real
the
easy to
toilet?
flush. And the bangers that we use, as long as there's a tip. How we make them is different from the Southerners. The Southerners make these fucking samurai swords and these fucking big
Katana
old yeah,
swords.
bro. So ours is it's a long 6 inches of plastic, and then there's a little tip that we use for they were called box staples and sharpened to a tip. All that tip needs to do is open your wound, and the plastic is to shove the wound open. So all you do is bust the tip, pull that out. That gets flushed. So if they find the plastic and there's no tip on it, it's no weapon.
What is the plastic typically? A toothbrush? Or
Nah, the plastic, I was using baby powder bottles.
So you'd heat those up and roll them
I'd
tight?
heat them up, roll them up, so it's about as little stick. And at the end, I'll grab my nail clippers, grab the box staple, and I'd melt the tips, and I'd shove it in there, and then I would just roll it to like a little point, to a little coin. Then I'll start sharpening it to make it a point, make it a
And
weapon.
how did it adhere to the plastic that you'd almost melt the plastic into the tip?
I melt the tip into the plastic.
Okay.
So and then you just
And that's
roll
an
it.
effective weapon.
Nah, I thought that weapon was bullshit.
Yeah.
But that was the one we needed at the time. I made them fast because I didn't know when they were gonna pop the door. So most of the effective weapons is cutting your locker or cutting your fan rod, getting your fan rods or getting a typewriter. Those ones have rods about that big you can sharpen and kill people. This was just something on the spare of the moment that we created.
Were you required to be strapped 24/7? Was that part of the MO?
Northern structure, Nuestra Raza, we're supposed to be the front line defense, so we're always supposed to be packing a weapon. Northerners around this time, this was before things changed, you had an option. Hey, do you want a weapon? Yes, what kind? A banger or a razor blade? Razor blade. If they said they didn't want a banger, you can't force them to use a banger. The only thing they were obligated to is defend and protect the household, which meant, hey, jump in if a homie gets victimized or we ever get rushed. Other than that, we were the ones taking care of all the bloodshed.
So dial us back. You're now going back to mainline, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the word on the curb is that you've been stabbed.
Mm-hmm.
Were you looking at the homies going, are these guys going to pack me out? What was going through your mind at that moment?
What was going through my mind was this. I was just like, I was 50-50, but I had this arrogance like, bro, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this right. I was coming to the conclusion like, bro, they're either going to hit me and send me back, or they're going to let me stay and they're going to investigate me, but I'm going to get hit again anyways. So I was telling myself, if they're going to investigate me and let me plead my case, and I start to see it coming this time, then I'm going to hurt somebody. So it was like a vengeful act. But when I made it up the stairs. Dude came out and he was birdbathing. And then I seen him and I seen his aggression. He walked right in and put his shoes on, still wet from the birdbath in his boxers. And I was like, shit, it's about to go down. And the CO was right there at the door, just going like this, watching us. So me and the homie, I can't remember where he was from, man. We started thumping for a little bit. I never talked to the dude. So we started thumping for a little bit and he got the best of me. And I think he tried to pick me up on my waist and throw me over the tier, or unless he tried to pick me up at the waist and slam me on the ground. Either way, I still grabbed the rail. So, because I thought I was going to get thrown over the tier. And he just held me there, and then they came up and sprayed us. And then that's when I went back, and I sat there, and it was a conversation that I had. I always remember this name, though, always. His name was Listo. He was from San Jose, from La Palmas. This is how treacherous this game is. I already had he got validated. He got caught with drugs and a cell phone. But during that time, I already had sent an investigative report to Mondo, the NF, and I was like, hey, bro, this fool's I think he's been freelancing. I don't know where his money's going. You know, he hasn't got sent to the back. you know, I reported him, so I knew he was gonna get hit when he went to the shoe. So he was right there waiting to go to the shoe, and I knew he was gonna get hit. And he actually told me, he's like, "Look, bro, I cut it, let it go, bro. Like, you're done, bro. They're gonna try to kill you when you go to the shoe."
Right.
And I took his word for it, and I was like, "All right, good looking out, bro. Fuck it." And then I didn't even tell him that I wrote him up and that he was gonna get hit back there. But he gave me the heads up, but I didn't even do it to him.
So you had some wishful thinking. You didn't want to go out backwards, but it was a wrap.
It was a wrap.
It was a wrap.
It was a wrap. You gotta remember, I'm factoring in my cousin just got smoked. I'm under investigation. Some shit's going on that I thought I was doing for a righteous reason turned out to be an illegitimate reason. And then my cellie hitting me in the end and then putting me just pretty much just deeming me no good.
Right.
You know, all those factor in, you're just kind of sitting in that cell by yourself. Still no property. They still didn't give me no property the second time.
They're low-key torturing you mentally, physically. And then the irony is the guy you reported, Listo, is like, hey, bro, call it a day and it's time to roll it up. And it was probably good advice because the next thing was going in your neck. Do you at that point say, all right, I'll debrief, or do you just say, hey, it's time for me to leave, guys?
Nah, I went to committee and the warden was right there. He's like, look, man, we already know, bro. They, like I said, IGI, everybody knows what takes place with you. And they're like, hey, bro, we already know you can't go back. I was like, yeah, that's all good, man. I'm cool. I'll go to SNY. Yeah. And they're like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. IGI sitting right there and he's like, do you want to talk? And I was like, fuck no. And then what you do is they give you this paper saying, all right, you're going to sign saying that you're disassociating yourself from the northern part and that you'll never join a gang again. That's what this little documentation, that's all it is a just paragraph saying that you'll never join because the SNY groups were already becoming big, that they were validating them now. So they said that you're making a commitment right here that if we send you to SNY, you're not going to join an SNY gang. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I signed the paper and that was it. And
let me ask you this, do you still have that piece of paper?
Nah, that's for the committee purposes.
So they don't give you a copy?
Nah, they don't give you the copy.
I'm just curious to see how they word that. That's a trip.
I think that's the same paper because when I paroled, they're telling everybody, hey, you're going to sign your chrono. For anybody that was an SNY gang member, they were putting you back on the main line. And they're going to say, so I think it's that same chrono, like, hey, bro, since you became a gang member and you violated this chrono, now you got to sign this one saying you're going back to the main line.
Right. So they put you with one foot on a banana peel, the other one on a slippery surface, right? So let me ask you this. Your prison career is ruined at this point. You're out bad and you end up on an SNY yard. So walk us through the moment where you hit that SNY yard. Are you like in your head going, oh man, I'm going to be celled up with a chomo and some weirdo?
I was actually talking to some people on a tier and they were lacing me up, but they were like, man, the chomos and the weirdos, they're not on the level 4s. They're mostly the level 3s. The level 4s have a policy where all the SNY gangs group together and they stab them and jump them and get them off the yard. So that wasn't my factor, but I already told myself, man, if I end up with a cellie that's one of them, it's finna be bad. I'm finna choke him in his sleep. So I get to a cell, my very first cellie, I'll never forget it, Senator from Fontana. He was a 2-5er, and he was a Southerner. And then we started chopping it up for like 2 weeks, and then he was already trying to recruit me. And in my head, I thought that was just a Southern gang, bro. I thought 2-5s were Southern gangs. So I was like, man, what the fuck that look like joining a Southern gang?
Educate us about 2-5ers. Now, for our audience out of state, out of town, a 2-5er is now the SNY yards have formed gangs, right? And even when you've pledged your word that you wouldn't join another gang, you find yourself in another hot pot, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so tell us what the 2-5 signifies. What does it mean?
2-5, dos cinco. Back in the day, they were started by Mexican mafia dropouts. I don't know a lot of their names because a lot of their leaders, their founding members, their own 2-5ers took them out, replaced them. But so you got ex-Mexican mafia members that were being made fun of. Back then, there was no SNY yards, it was PC yards. So there was this thing called, turn the light on, turn the light off switch, turn the switch, whatever. And these other emeros used to make fun of them like, hey, fucking pesetas. And peseta in Spanish is peso, that's 25. So he goes, hell yeah. So a lot of these fools are like, yeah, fuck yeah, we're pesetas. Matter of fact, we're 2-5, dos cinco.
So they
came up
they
with
own that derogatory term and flipped it around. I got you.
My thing was that I still had a norteño mentality. So I gravitated towards anybody from up north, not knowing that some of these individuals were already Northern Riders. To me, they just looked like regular norteños, no San Jose tattoos. A lot of homies were from Sacramento, from Oakland, from Santa Rosa. And then plus I had like 2 homies that were riders that were from TC that I grew up with as kids. So I just went over there just to chill with them. And then I liked their get down. I was like, okay. So, but I noticed there was one Southerner from Compton. There was an ex-skinhead from Merced. There was a black from Seminary. And I was like, okay, so it's all diverse. And there was an ex-NF member from, what's his name? Local man from Merced. So I'm like, okay, so it's a little bit of everything. And they broke it down to me. They broke it down. They broke down the CCOs and what it was for and what the identity was and why we recruit from all aspects of life. But what I seen was like the money. These dudes had money. These dudes were balling. These dudes had the pipelines. And I said, okay, so I could dig this.
These are the Northern Riders, right?
Yeah.
So multicultural. You got skins, you got essays, you got everybody.
Everybody.
Okay. And you always sought out that brotherhood and you started to kind of click with these boys, right?
Yeah, I clicked with them. We were good. It was just I wasn't ready to be done yet. That's the kind of the thing I've always trying to explain. Yeah, I was trying to explain that, like, bro, like some people go to SNY, they weren't ready to give it up. That's all I grew up on. That's the only thing I knew my whole life since the age of 12 was gangbanging. So I felt like, gravitated towards another brotherhood. It wasn't about being with their brotherhood. It was because I know what I'm capable of. I always felt my whole life up until recently that what I can contribute to a brotherhood and how much I could be an asset to a brotherhood would mean something of a greater purpose. Because I know what I'm capable of. I know how far I'm willing to go. So when I joined it, it was both aspects, man. I wanted to still be a part of something because I know how to fight for something. And I know what I'm capable of. I had a girl visiting me that was bringing me dope, so I know I could bring something to the table. And plus, I love to fight. I love the violence. And I got made, and like not even a week later, I wound up going to war with the independent riders.
Okay, so the Northern Riders were funking with the independent riders. And how did you guys function with the Zapatistas? Was that love?
Then Zapatistas go to war with the 2-fighters. We went to war with them one time, but it was fucking brief, and we wound up slicing up on one of our homies like almost half to death for that because he started it. But the Zapatistas, they're all lifers. 95% of them are lifers, and the ones that get recruited into that have dates, they kind of shelf them homies like, hey, bro, if it kicks off, join, but when it's time to kill somebody, let us do it. We all got life. We're not going home.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Is there a way to get rolled off an SNY yard?
Bro.
Is there another tier here?
No. Look, they're isolating. Back when I was there, up until like Tehachapi, if you land in Tehachapi, you're stuck there. Everybody in Tehachapi, like maybe 80% of the populations are STG group, SNY inmates. They find ways to isolate them. In Kern Valley on D yard, they have the middle and the upper yard. The lower yard 1 through 4 is for the regular dudes that got all the program that never fight. They'll put everybody over there. 5 and 6, hey, you guys want to fight? Go to yard.
Okay.
Duke it out. Okay. 7 and 8, you guys want to fight? That'll be the Zapatistas and 2-fighters, and they'll put us with the IRs or whoever you're going to war with. The administration will find a way to instigate the situation like the gladiator days, but instead they look at it like, hey, if you guys want to fight, here, don't disturb the program. I'll keep everybody inside and I'll release all the 2-fighters doors and the Zapatistas doors. You guys go to the yard and deal with that shit, and you guys get off my yard, and you guys all go to the hole pending weapons charges, attempted murder charges, but the rest of the yard program. So yeah, you can get rolled up you can get beat up on a yard and end up on a yard where there's gonna be a lot of chomos, a lot of sexers, a lot of people who lack like proper conduct, proper etiquette, but you're gonna program there. You just won't program with the STG groups.
If you were to take a sampling of those yards, how many people would you say in a percentage, just a rough estimate, are just solid dudes like you that were on the back end of a bad call?
I'm gonna say 70% of them we're all pieces of shit. We're all we did some scandalous shit. A lot of these dudes will go to the SNY, bro, and they'll complain. Oh, bro, I got done dirty, and you'll run into somebody like, man, that fool didn't get done dirty. That fool was fucking locked it up for this, or he didn't want to do removal, so he turned the banger into the cop and caught a case and went to the hole and came over here. But you'll always hear the people that tell their stories. Sometimes you can hear like the genuineness, you can hear the humbleness, because they're like, yeah, bro, I got done dirty like this, but they don't brag about it much. You just hear it because you grow in a personal relationship, and then when you hear it, you'll know the details, how they get into it, the involvement, the names they use. When you hear those stories, you can tell the difference as opposed to a dude that's all he says, that's all he ever says, and he's an individual that was somebody on the main line, but he got done dirty. When the individuals brag about it the most on the SNY are the individuals that really were nobody on the main line. And it's the way they conduct themselves every day, running up drug debts, chasing papers, always drinking, always getting into it with another faction, is when you know, man, that fool was just one of those scandalous dudes that, couldn't make it on the main lines, didn't know how to conduct the program.
Right. And one of the more scandalous moves you hear is the guy who runs up the big drug debt and just rolls off the yard, and
they do the same thing on the SNY too. And what they do is they'll do it and think of like, hey, I'll just get jumped real quick and I'll end up on a yard that I want to be on. And so they'll do it anyways, get jumped, tell the administration, I can't be on this yard, bro. The STG groups want to stab me. I owe this much money. And the fucking administration plays a fucking pivotal role. Like, all right, bro, we're going to send you over here and just get him where he wants to go, bro. Now he's close to home. You can get visits. Like, bro, you done cost somebody like countless money, lives, instigated wars for your stupidity because you just want to feed your veins. Happens all the time, bro.
You mentioned you did some scante in there. What else were you doing? Did you get into heroin or no?
Yeah, I got hooked on heroin the whole time I was on SNY.
And did you slam it or smoke it? Or?
Once I slammed it, I wouldn't do it any other way.
So when you're on heroin, you don't want to work out, right? Or do you?
That's the thing, bro. When you see these old ass movies like New Jack City, you see the fool just.
Yeah, you always seem they're dozed out. They're zombies.
I'd hit that shit and just be up like, damn,
really?
Let's go clean the house, bro. I want to do some sets. It wasn't until like maybe 4 hours later where I'll just be like, and I'll just nod for a little bit and I'll watch TV, but I'll go all night just nodding, watching TV. It'll keep me up still. It's just I'll get that quick little 5-minute nod, a little 10-minute nod, but that's like a power nap. So y'all got hooked on it bad, bro. It's because drugs.
Define bad, like daily, weekly.
Well, I had a homegirl that was bringing it in for me.
So you were hitting big time.
I was hitting, and then I think we got busted in 2013, 2014. We got busted with the pipeline. Me, my cellie, 2 other people, and the principal of the school. And they snatched me up for 8-month investigation, took my visits. She got found in the parking lot down the street from not the parking lot, but down the street from the prison. They pulled her over for not having a license, so she got terminated off my books altogether. But we were bringing in dope a lot, and I was every prison I went to, I found an avenue to bring in the dope.
And how much does a little smear of tar go for?
Like something you would pick your nose with, like a little booger at your nose, $50 to $100.
$5,200 for a booger.
Yeah, for a booger.
Are you serious?
That's the sad aspect, bro. Like,
wow,
something like this big, bro. Something this big.
Wow.
$50 to $100.
$5,200 for a little fucking booger.
And people are stabbing each other over something small.
How do people afford that kind of money to get?
I don't know, man. People just got people that take care of them and that are willing to look out and want to contribute and all that stuff. And you'll be surprised how much money can be made off an ounce that costs $500 out here. I think giving my homegirl like $1,100 in cash every weekend, plus the money I was making on the yard and I was putting on my books.
And how would you send her the paper? Like, how would she get
back then? When I was doing it, Western Unions were a big thing. Green dots were barely becoming a good thing.
But if I'm IGF, an investigator, I see you Western Unioning $1,100. Doesn't that pop up on their radar or no?
Sometimes they were paying attention. Like if you got like $1,000 every week on your books. But you got to remember, somebody's making a phone call to their family. They're creating the Western Union, giving it to you. Most of the time, I was just like, hey, well, here's this number. Have your family get the numbers and call them. So it never really came back to the institution.
Okay.
Because you trust the people you're selling to. Like, hey, if we think your family can give the Western Unions over there. And I got a cell phone, so I'm calling my girl like, did you get that? Did you get that? Yeah, she called me today. It's it's an easy process. People go a long time without getting caught, but when they get caught, because IGI wants to catch you with a lot, not just a little.
They're waiting for you to hit big, yeah. So have you tamed that demon, the scante and the heroin demon?
Yeah, man. To be honest with you, I want to say it was the last year when I was getting out. I didn't think I was getting out. I was pending a lot of DA referrals, and they kept getting rejected. And like I said, there's one that never even came back as rejected, and for some reason it still hasn't came back. And I pray to God every day that it doesn't. Like the statute of limitations is already over. But I told myself, bro, if I'm really going home, I'm not coming home with a habit. And when they gave me my parole papers, mind you, I was slamming some boxing like crazy, like 3 times a day. And I went to my cellie and I go, hey, bro, these are my parole papers. He's like, that's what's up, fool, that's what's up. I was like, hey, fool, I'm fucking done. He was like, well, I was like, but I beat up somebody 6 months to the pad, but he had to go, so I had to smash him. But other than that, I was like, fool, I'm chilling, bro. He's like, you're not gonna use it? And I'm like, I'm not going home with this habit, bro. Like, fuck no, this is disgusting, bro. Like, I'm just doing it in here to kill time and escape my reality. And he was like, do what you gotta do, bro. There's no easy way to get off it. You just gotta sit there and say no and kick. And I had to kick it.
You mentioned a lot of the Zapatistas are lifers anyway. They have no dates, but guys like 2-5ers and independent riders and northern riders, which you were a part of, does that spill back onto the streets or no? It does? Okay.
Zapatistas, not so much. There's a couple of them that are on my channel now that I talk to, that I get along with, that love my channel and the message that I'm putting out there on the denouncement of all gangs, just fuck being a gang member, period. But the 2-5ers are very big. You know, I have a great guest, Casper from San Diego. He's a 2-5er. He's became a great friend to me.
Shout out to Casper. That was a great interview. You guys.
Yeah, man. And I got to, like, not being a gang member no more, bro. I got to develop so many communications and so much friendships, bro. It's amazing. But does it spill over on the streets? The riders, it did. It did. It's becoming a big thing. That the end of hostilities addressed it. Like, all right, we're all gonna come together and we gotta start taking care of these S and Y groups because they're out on the streets going crazy. And the riders are deep out there on the streets.
Are they? Yeah. Where would you find 2-5ers? All over Cali?
Ah, man, they got 2-5ers in Alaska. They got 2-5ers in New Mexico. They got a lot of them from down south. There's a lot of them from down south.
Are they here in LA?
Yeah, but see, 2-5ers recruit from LA. 2-5ers recruit from down south mostly. Mostly every member from 2-5 is from a southern gang out here.
And they can function in the streets?
They can't, but I mean, Casper said it himself. He was like, bro, I'm in San Diego, bro. I've been out here for years chilling. And he has it on his forehead. So some hoods, like, it's 2023 now. It's not like the 90s when green lights were a serious thing. So they don't take it serious. So sometimes people go back to the hood and be like, hey, bro, that was a good homie. I don't care what he is. I don't care what he's done. You know what I mean?
So some people will look the other way that are on the streets and be like, hey, you're a northern rider. You're cool.
That's how it was for me in the beginning. I had my confrontations. I got jumped a few times. Got into it with some people. Some people just didn't care because they knew who I was as a kid. Most of the time the conversations was like, damn, fool, like, for real, bro? Like, you had to go do that? Like, we understood your story. We all heard your story. But you didn't have to go join that, bro. Like, now you just made yourself a bigger target. And I'm like, hey, fool, never mind. We're not talking about that, bro. We're talking about us, our childhood. I'd get jobs out here and run into homies from my hood, and they just be like, hey, bro, like, it's fucking, your story sucks, bro. But, hey, bro, it is what it is. You know what time it is after work. And I'm like, yeah, I already know what time it is if I see you. I don't got a problem with that. Right. But they started instigating situations with me, and it caused me to get out of character. So I did what I had to do. And it wasn't until my son was born when I was like, you know what? I ain't doing none of this, bro. And then I got betrayed by the riders. And then I said, you know what? I went all my life trying to be a part of something, bro. And like, there's more to life, bro. I need to be a part of myself. I need to be a part of a family. Yeah. And my channel growing as big as it did, I was like, bro, that's my brotherhood right there. It's my audience, bro. I don't need nobody else.
You could find brotherhood in so many different forms, you know, and you and I talked a lot about that. But let's talk about Renegade Media. We caught wind of you. Your channel's blowing up, bro. It's fantastic. You don't put, you know, too much mustard on it. You always keep it authentic, real. How did you come up with the name Renegade Media?
Okay, Renegade, right? Here's the thing. When Northern Riders was Northern Riders and not Riders, the very first documents to ever be circulated were called the Northern Rider Declarations. And in that declaration, it identifies us as we're going to be renegades. We don't follow rules. That is our identity. This is who we are. We don't abide by COCs and prison politics. We are a movement. So when I went at it with Badass Snoop on the internet over, you know, his scandalous ways and him betraying me, I readopted that term renegade because that's what I am. I don't listen to nobody. I never listened to him, and he can verify that. I had arguments with him. I'm the type of person that even with the rider movement, I spoke my mind. I spoke my piece. I said what I want because I believe I was an equal shareholder to the movement like everybody else. But he turned it into a prison gang trying to be the ultimate leader. We go at it on all over YouTube over some dumb, irrelevant nonsense, some false information that I wound up proving on the streets, and he still greenlighted me. So at the end, Renegade was intended towards him. I was gonna do a channel just airing out his laundry, dividing the movement, splitting the movement in half. Who wants to follow me? Who could follow him? But once I seen that my channel was growing, I was like, bro, why do I want to be a fucking gang member on YouTube, bro? Like, I'm fucking cool. Like, thugging on the net was not cool. So I wound up changing it little by little, just telling my stories. And sure enough, the bigger I got, and my son coming into this world, I was like, bro, I gotta do something right for once. Like, bro, why do I gotta be a gang member all my life? Why do I need to portray this image all my life? And when I decided to change the channel and change the narrative and preach, the channel grew. And then honestly, my audience, bro, the way they talk to me, that they engage with me, the way they supported me, my mentality changed little by little. But when Snoop gave the green light in all Tulare County and Kings County not to fuck with me, and if he finds out that they were fucking with me or following me on social media, they're green lighted, I pulled away. I told everybody, I was like, look, but let me do my thing, bro. I don't want to get you guys in the red, bro. He hates me. He can't stand the fact that, you know, he needs me. I don't need him. I became successful on my own, and he doesn't like that. And I was representing this movement more than he ever done. And for him to greenlight me, I was like, bro, I don't need it no more, bro.
And you always wrap your message with, and you speak into the youth, at-risk youth, and say, hey guys, there's no good ending to this story.
Nah, bro, like every on the main lines, I became scandalous. I became the leadership I wasn't supposed to be, but I got infatuated with becoming a leader. Then on the SNY, my influence grew with the Northern Riders. In the movement, there was like 5 of us out of like 4,000 members that had the heaviest voices, and I became one of them within 5 years. Snoop being the president, we don't hear his voice. It's only when he wants something done, whenever it's important to him. So I become that voice, and then when I come out here and he hears I'm doing good, he shuts me down. And then we have this internet beef that everybody was like, bro, who are you? Like, we want to know your story. I became a bigger sensation than he will ever be. His name just is a legacy because of who he is and what he started. But still me, you know, I have the opportunity to be a positive voice. So I took it to that level, and I was like, you know what, bro, like everything I try to do with gangs does not work out. Yeah, people make fun of me on the internet. Oh, you didn't make the cut. You know what? I'm glad I didn't make the cut, because now I'm on to bigger and better things. I'm meeting people that made more bigger impacts on the world than we've ever did as gang members. What have gangers ever done for us or done for the streets? Right. Nothing.
You know what the best revenge is?
Success.
Exactly. Yeah, and you're highly successful. I like the direction your channel's going. It has more of a positive vibe. You know, I know the beef sells and all the little bubblegum bullshit people do, but I never, you know, wanted to see our channel go that direction. I want us to get to know people from different walks of life. And what you're doing is you're interviewing people from different walks of life and getting perspective. And I love that, man. We're feeling it. And I really want to salute you for being a family man, pulling it in. And at the end of the day, little Jeremiah, your son, he's going to do everything you do, right? So you want to show him that upside, what life can really be. You have a big channel. It's growing steady, lots of engagement with your audience. People are feeling you, man. And I would encourage you to do as much media as you can, because your story is remarkable. We just scratched the surface today. How can our audience reach out to you?
On Instagram, I go by 59_JAYY. Spotify is 59J for all my music. Apple Music is going to be J Hands. My YouTube channel is going to be Renegade Media. And that's pretty much it, man. But most importantly, you know, I make a catalog of music. A lot of them are going to be called One Life, One Chance, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. As you can see from the merch, as you can see from the hat. That was the last tattoo my cousin got before they killed him. So I made a commitment. Yeah, people probably don't like my music. I get some good streams. But at the end of the day, I need to leave something behind because my cousin's not here. So I got to live this. I got to live double the life. So I live by his model that he died for.
I love that. Over a $40 drug debt. His wind was taken. Can I guess what your book's going to be called?
I have no idea yet, but I'll tell you what, there's so many stories that I can't tell on YouTube because of the brutality, the politics, and the pictures. But I got pictures of fools like literally faces cut open. I got full pictures. So I'm just like, bro, I just got to find the right avenues. I'm still learning this shit every day.
Can I give you my title suggestion? One Life, One Chance.
Yeah. Yeah, rest in peace, my cousin.
Rest in peace. Jay, thank you so much for coming through, big dog. We appreciate having you.
Thank you too, man. I appreciate this opportunity, man. This was a blessing.